amigos, and welcome to Inside the UPSL on TV Max and on TVEmax.com. You guys can find us on all of our social media platforms. That is on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter. That is at UPSL Soccer. I am your host, Alex Naveja, and alongside with me tonight is Art Eftikari and Dennis Pope coming back from vacation time.
What's up, fellas?
As we're here every Thursday night to bring you guys the latest developments in the fastest growing pro development soccer league, the UPSL. First off, we're going to start off with Off the Top when we introduce to you the top 3 developing stories in lower division soccer. First off, we have the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup qualifying 4th round coming up this weekend. What's coming up as we see Cal FC and the Santa Ana Winds playing off against each other?
That's the big matchup of the week, right? 2 UPSL teams going against one another. There was going to be another UPSL matchup in Florida, but America SC decided to drop out, so Florida Soccer Soldiers moves on, right? So they join Bavarian SC as the 2 UPSL teams already in the U.S. Open Cup. And then there's 6 more teams still playing this Saturday and this Sunday for a chance to go to the U.S. Open Cup proper. And again, the all UPSL matchup is Cal FC, last year's Western Conference SoCal Division champions, against Santa Ana Winds, which is now in its 4th qualifying cycle for the U.S. Open Cup, and have a chance again to qualify for the tournament. So it's a big matchup. Art, you going to be at the game? Or are you going to be able to make it?
That's a tough one. I'm not 100% sure right now, but I do know that it will be a very entertaining one, that's for sure.
So you could definitely catch that somewhere in MyCujoo, I would say.
It's via U.S. Soccer, I think, through MyCujoo, but we'll check on that and double check on that for you. But there's 4 other games involving UPSL teams. Safira FC out of the New England area, they're going to play Westchester, which was an NPSL finalist last year for the right to go to the U.S. Open Cup. World Class Premier Elite, a team out of Maryland, they're going to play Virginia United. And then there's FC Maritsa out of St. Louis. They're also playing, as well as Southwest FC out of El Paso. They're hosting a game against FC Denver. So some big matchups coming up. It's going to be an exciting weekend. And these are all win and you're in, or win or go home kind of matchups. So this entire tournament calendar, this whole campaign leads up to this weekend for these teams.
You were talking about a little bit about the Bavarian SC. They recently created a GoFundMe account for their recent 90th anniversary. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I know there's some fun coming up with that.
Yeah, Bavarian's really blowing it out for their 90th anniversary this year. Their newest promotion is they want to offer free tickets to all their UPSL home games this season. So they've started a GoFundMe account. They're trying to raise $1,929, which is the year of their founding. So there's a little bit of a symbolism to this GoFundMe. And I think they've already raised several $100s already. They just started this the other day. But if they raise that amount, that $1,929, then all tickets for the entire season, their 90th anniversary, their 2nd season in the UPSL, will be free to all fans. And I know they played a great facility there in Glendale, Wisconsin. It's hosted the U.S. Amateur Cup last year, and it will host the U.S. Amateur Cup again this year. And it's just a great promotion for them. I think everything that they do is really spot on. Bavarian, they're just a really well-run club, and I think it's an exciting thing. Wouldn't you love to be a part of that?
Yeah, of course. And, whenever you talk about amateur soccer in the United States, you always hear their name. And, going back to 1929, I mean, such an old club. I mean, this is a club that's like, one of the oldest. There's so much history there. I mean, MLS is like so new compared to some of these other teams, compared to many of these other teams,
Right.
Similar to Milwaukee Bavarian.
Yeah, Milwaukee Bavarian is like MLS's great-grandfather, for real. It's like they're super historic in their area. They've won the U.S. Open Cup. They've done things that some U.S. clubs only dream about doing. And this year they're celebrating 90 years, which is a thing that I don't know if any U.S. club can really say that they can do. So kudos to them. Keep it up. Bavarian, I think what you're doing is awesome.
And speaking of MLS and that history right there, we do have some MLS stars going to be hosting against and playing against each other. Jermaine Jones with the Ontario Fury hosting against Landon Donovan and the San Diego Sockers tonight in Ontario, California. How crazy is this matchup going to be?
What do you think, Art?
I think it's just really exciting for the fans first and foremost, I mean, Jermaine Jones and Landon Donovan, yeah, they hung up their cleats, talking about outdoor soccer and, their times they played with the national team, and they've done so much. And to see them playing in arena soccer, right? It's called the Major Arena Soccer League. To see them doing what they're doing, this is really exciting for the fans, and it's a treat. It's going to be a treat for them.
What about you, Dennis? I know you're pretty excited about this.
Yeah, this is a big matchup for Southern California. I know a lot of people who are going to this game, and Jermaine Jones says he's not scared of Landon Donovan. I think there's a part of the Ontario Fury organization, and mind you, they have a team that participates in the UPSL in the championship division of the SoCal. So they're tied into the UPSL in that way, but Jermaine Jones brings a lot of gravitas to their club, and he's said in the last few days that he's not scared of Landon Donovan. He's not scared of the Sockers. The Sockers are sort of the big bad indoor bully here on the West Coast, and so they sort of reign supreme when it comes to the Major Arena Soccer League, especially here in California. And to bring in a player of Jermaine Jones's caliber and intensity is going to change, I think, the way people view the MASL. I think several months ago when Landon Donovan joined the Sockers, everybody sort of looks at Landon like he's restless to begin with. He's going to try and go do something else. He went and played for Villion. He came back and played for the Galaxy. It kind of fit his MO that he'd go and try and play somewhere else. But to bring in Jermaine Jones, who has so much quality, played for some of the biggest clubs in Germany, and really has the mentality of a real soccer warrior, it's going to change, I think, the way people view the Major Arena Soccer League, and hopefully for the better.
Looking like some exciting things coming up with some former MLS players there, as we're going to take our first break here in Inside the UPSL. But when we come back, we're going to have the UPSL MVP joining us coming up right next. But don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms. That is on Instagram, Facebook, and at Twitter. That is at UPSL Soccer. Welcome back to Inside the UPSL, presented by TV Max. And we'd like to welcome in the UPSL MVP, Abraham Villion. And we'd first like to say congratulations, Abraham, on winning the MVP trophy, as it sits right here, right in front of you on the table.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a tremendous honor to, to receive this award on behalf of all you guys.
So what's going through your mind right now? You won the MVP trophy. What do you feel? How do you feel?
I feel good, I want to thank, my teammates and Cal United Strikers, the organization, and, it was a great year for myself and for our team.
Mm-hmm. How big of a deal is this to you to have won the UPSL MVP award?
For me, it's a great achievement. You always play the game, you know, to do it at your highest level. And you know, I put a lot of work in this season, so you know, I'm glad that, you know, I was able to walk away with this award.
And did you ever see yourself winning an award this big before?
No, I mean, I always just put the work in training, and you know, day by day, I kind of take it a day at a time, and you know, and that's how I am with my soccer, and that's how, you know, I'll continue to be until until I keep playing. So.
And I was just gonna ask, what was your initial reaction once you heard the news that you won the UPSL MVP award? What was your reaction?
I actually found out through one of my teammates. I think he messaged me, you know. I was on the phone with, I think, my parents, and he messaged me and he said, hey, you know, you congrats, bro, you know. And I was like, congrats for what? And then he dropped it, and then I was like, oh, no way. I was pretty stunned, you know, pretty shocked, because there's a handful of guys on our team and in the league, you know, that I would say are pretty, you know, quality players. And, you know, it was surprising to me, for sure.
And I know Cal United had quite the season last year, especially winning the whole entire title during the fall season. How important was it to wrap up the campaign with a win in that UPSL final?
It was huge for us as a team and as an organization. You know, we put in a lot of work during the season, you know, a lot of hours, a lot of grunt work that you don't really see, you know. But yeah, it was awesome for us, and you know, I look forward to winning many more games, and you know, and the future.
And moving forward now, you won your title, and now what's the current status with Cal United FC?
Well, right now we're in a little bit of a layaway. We're still training, you know, a few times a week. But right now we're just, you know, focusing on staying active, keeping healthy, and, you know, just being prepared for whatever comes next.
What's it like to play in the same midfield as Paulo Cardozo and Kyle O'Brien?
It's great. So, you know, those Kyle and Paolo are very talented players, and you know, goes for our whole team. But it's, you know, you learn from good players every day, and I can definitely say that I learn from those two quite a bit.
You have a youth playing history with Kyle?
Yeah, so me and Kyle, we basically grew up playing together. I remember he was on my first 3-a-side team when we were like 8. Yeah, so we go back way, you know, a lot of years ago. So, and you know, we basically come from the same school of soccer, if you will, you know. So it's great to play with him now.
And then what do you think is the next possible step for Cal United in this group?
Well, for us, we just, you know, we're like I said, we're putting the work in training, and we have faith in our ownership that, you know, they're steering the ship in the right direction, and you know, and we know that good things are coming, and we're a solid unit, and going forward, I think we could do some really good things coming up. Definitely.
Awesome.
My final question would have to be, what's coming up next now, Abraham?
So we don't know officially yet, but what we do know is we're playing in the summer. In
nice.
Some league, somewhere we're playing. So, you know, we're just waiting in anticipation and putting the work in like we did this past season. And, you know, and we're just kind of letting God just handle it.
So big things coming up for Cal United now, since
Definitely.
you guys are going to be, you know, sleeping the spring season out.
Yeah, we're sleeping, but we're definitely, you know, we're definitely working. So we're ready. We'll be ready for the summer, definitely.
Well, Abraham, it was a pleasure to have you on the show again. Congratulations on that MVP trophy. We appreciate your time.
thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
And that was Abraham Villion with us today, the MVP winner for the UPSL. We're going to take another break. But when we come back, we're going to throw on our swinging shoes and make our way to the East Coast Swing.
Mr. John manages a small football club with just a few followers. Every day he wonders, how can I attract more supporters? Internet is the answer, but a channel is time-consuming, expensive, and hard to maintain. Everything has changed since Mr. John met MyCujoo, the football broadcasting solution for small and medium-sized clubs and leagues. Mr. John noticed how everything has started to change quickly when supporters and fans began to arrive. If you want your club to enjoy the same benefits as Mr. John's, sign up with MyCujoo.tv. Attract more followers for your club and empower its business now. MyCujoo, democratization of football broadcasting. MyCujoo.tv.
Welcome back to Inside the UPSL, presented by TV EMAX. And now it's time to swing our way to the East Coast Swing as we tell you guys the hottest topics over in the east side of the UPSL. First off, we're going to stop by Florida and some serious viewership, I would say, and them saying it's not the Ochocinco Effect there. What's going on in Florida?
Some really big numbers on MyCujoo this last weekend. There was 800 plus for the Port St. Lucie game.
Wow.
Just massive totals overall. And I think, it's promotion coming out of those teams in Florida. They're starting to really produce MyCujoo on a regular basis, and so people can count on going there, and I think that's starting to help. And I think the Ochocinco bump, at the very least, helps the Florida teams that, people want to check in and see what he's doing, right?
Well, of course. I mean, come on. It's Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson, whatever. We'll call him whatever we want to call him. And yeah, he's obviously got to have a big impact on what's going on. But great news, and always good to keep on seeing those numbers increase. UPSL games on MyCujoo.
Let's see.
What more can you ask for?
Yeah, let's see. Over 1,000 on a regular basis. That would be a good benchmark, I think, to go for.
I think it'll definitely get to that point, but we're going to shift our way now towards the southeast as the Savannah Clovers, they had to postpone their game in the very last minutes of their game. Any guesses why this is happening?
I don't know. It was pretty last minute, their post on Twitter. They didn't really elaborate on what the reason could be. I'm guessing it was some sort of last-minute stadium issue that they couldn't overcome. They rent Memorial Stadium there in Savannah. It's a great place, but it's probably in demand, right? So there was probably something that took precedence over the UPSL game, and that's unfortunate, but probably that's the reality of the situation. I don't think it was weather. I mean, I didn't really check the radar, but they didn't mention weather. And teams usually say, if the field is too wet or whatever to play, they'll usually mention that. So probably a facility issue.
Now we're going to shift our way over to the Atlantic Caribbean as the Forest Rovers FC, they get the 4-1 victory over the Yardas FC. Give us a little breakdown on that game.
I think the Atlantic Caribbean division is starting to come into its own. You're starting to see teams promote themselves a little more thoroughly, and I think MyCujoo is helping. We saw some video highlights of this past weekend, and we're starting to see a little bit more coming out of there. There was, I think, a long distance strike in this game that kind of made the highlight reel. And when we see more stuff like that come out of there, you're going to get more attention.
What about you, Art? Did you see anything that stuck out to you from that 4-1 victory?
Well, I still got to, that player, of course, we know what stood out. Martin Lugo, the 40-yard strike. I mean, just an awesome goal. That's gonna be shown all over the place. In my opinion, I mean, that's something that ESPN should have got a hold of and put it on. What do they usually have? Like the top 10 plays of the week? I mean, come on. That right there is quality. Martin Lugo just ripping that one from so far out. And from what I understand, I believe he is from Southern California, nearby Long Beach.
Oh, local boy.
Yeah. Great story.
Just missing the da-na-na. You're watching SportsCenter.
Yeah, but it is SportsCenter worthy. Come on, we know this.
Somebody should have hashtagged that, right? I think it's SC Top 10 or something like that, right?
Come on, we gotta get some of these guys from the UPSL.
You're
to
the
make
ESPN guy. Help us out.
Oh, okay. I got you guys. Send me a goal. I'm gonna definitely hashtag it ESPN, and I'm gonna send it out to the guys out there. But hey, just hint. this is a good goal. At least make it in top 10 at least. Come on, do us something. But now we're going to move over to the Northeast. There has been some promotions and relegations going on. How is this affecting the conference right now?
Well, there's a promotion relegation set up for the first time in the Northeast, and it's beginning to become a little more clear who's going to be involved in that, and that starts to build questions about, what happens, when teams at the end of the season get relegated. I think that's the ultimate question. Everybody wants to see teams promoted, but what happens when that last team or those last two teams go into the relegation playoffs and one team loses? What happens to that team? What's going to happen to that team this year? Are they going to accept relegation into the championship tier? As we've seen before in the lower division, sometimes teams fold or go on hiatus if that's the situation. So I think, having promotion in the Northeast is great. Everyone's going to want to see that. There's teams like AFC Lancaster Lions and Astoria Knights who are going to be fighting for that promotion spot. But what happens to that team that's right there already in the Pro Premier Northeast and they finish in that 8th or that 10th spot? It'll be interesting to see what happens to them next season.
So we'll wait and see what's going to come up next. But now we're going to shift our attention over to the Midwest as the Oakland County FC just released their schedule, releasing some friendly matches coming up. Any matchups you guys are looking for, gentlemen?
I mean, when you're looking at the standings, they're in the Eastern Division of the Midwest Conference, and yeah, one of those matchups would be against Carpathia FC. I believe that's another one of those clubs that's been around for a long time, and just a lot of, I think, the potential for some good rivalry matchups here against teams like Ann Arbor, even Michigan Jaguars. Yeah, of course, looking forward to those games on the schedule.
That's a strong Michigan conference or division, that Eastern Division of the Midwest Conference. I think any one of those games has the potential for them to become a derby matchup, a rivalry matchup. And they're going to play all their games at Clausen Stadium this year. They've announced that. So that's a big deal for them. And Oakland County, of course, always one of the best logos voted on by most people in lower division soccer. People really love that purple pop and those leaves on their logo. So I think good things are happening for them right now.
Logos definitely make a huge difference, but now we're going to make our final stop over to the Central as Alameda FC debuts with a win, 1-0 victory over Cedar Star Rush. Thoughts on this game?
1-0 victory is always a great victory, especially the first one of the season, their first game in the UPSL. Alameda FC out of Houston. I think that's a great start for them. And of course, they're co-owned by Matias Almeida, the famous coach, who's now the head coach of San Jose Earthquakes in Major League Soccer, co-owned by Sebastian Salazar. This is their first season in the UPSL, and it's off to a good start. This is a real strong club. They have their own facility there in Houston, the Matias Almeida Training Center. They're building a 2,000-seat stadium there on site. They have FIFA regulation-sized fields. I think that's just a real good situation with them. Of course, Almeida not getting a whole lot of wins with San Jose Earthquakes at the moment, but I think this club has the potential to be his real hallmark in the state of Texas and especially in Houston.
Are you expecting anything from here in the Central? Or
Well, hard to say, it's early, but I mean, just one thing I want to, let's talk about real quick is, this team, right now, Almeida FC, I mean, names the team after himself, and, we know this is big. Matias Almeida played in the 1998 and 2002 World Cup with Argentina, and it just kind of makes me think a little like, what if Maradona were to start his own team, in the UPSL? Would he call it Maradona FC, and would he, have them practice, El Mano de Dios? I mean, I'm just curious. It's a thought.
It would be Maradona FC if he had a team. It would be.
No, it would just be called
Maradona.
That's it.
No FC, no SC, no soccer club, football club,
It would just
nothing?
be Maradona.
So now we have Almeida, and we have
Alessandro
Del Piero, right, as ownership as part of ownership groups in the UPSL. I think this is an outstanding step for the UPSL to start gaining these types of quality head coaches, people with distinguished soccer backgrounds starting to become part of the league. It helps the league build recognition among everyday fans.
Do you think this will be a new common trend for the league as far as trying to bring in these big-time MLS players, former big-time soccer players?
Bringing in isn't so much as them wanting to be a part of the UPSL and seeing the value in the UPSL. And so I think, the more that these people in positions where they can own teams start to take a look at what Matias Almeida is doing, what Del Piero is doing. They're going to say, why can't I do that? And you're going to see probably more often than not, you're going to see teams like Maradona, or who else, like Pato. You're going to find it. And I think UPSL is the home for that. It's where, that kind of structure can exist for those kind of, investments.
Anything like Dennis Pope FC?
I have my own team and my own problems. They don't need to be involved in the UPSL.
Well, it looks like that's the end of the East Coast swing, as we're going to now make our way towards the West Coast and our West Coast What's Up after this break. Welcome back to Inside the UPSL, presented by TV EMAX. As we say, what's up West Coast? Let's go ahead and take a look at what's cracking on the UPSL West side. As our first stop, we'll be over in the Southwest, as the Southwest FC plays against FC Denver in the Win and You're In USOC game. What's on the line here? I know it's just a one and done type of deal here.
Yep, this is the biggest game in the history of Southwest FC. They host FC Denver, which is a Colorado State Cup champion. They've done some really awesome things in the state of Colorado, and now they have to travel into El Paso to play Southwest FC for the last shot out of the mountain region for the U.S. Open Cup qualifying. This will be everything for Southwest FC. Their whole campaign has been leading up to this. The entire reason that they've gone pro development is to train and prepare for this moment, for the possibility of getting to the U.S. Open Cup proper. And I think if they don't walk away with a victory here, they'll be thinking, what could we have done differently? They're hosting the game. They've got everything on their side right now. I think it's a massive opportunity for them, and I think they need to come away with a victory for them to propel and move forward positively.
I was going to ask you, Art, how important is this game for Southwest FC?
Well, like you said, it's a win, and you get to go to the first round of the 2019 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. It doesn't get any bigger than this game. Like we said, win and you're in, and if you lose, it's going to be that, how do you, it's one of those, of course you can't just say, oh yeah, how are you going to, bounce back from it. But it's tough, it's a tournament that, everyone wants to be in. It's really that important. And, I just wanted to point out by looking at the map, yes, I am able to confirm that Denver will be traveling southwest to play against Southwest FC. I just had to confirm that, because, what if it was just only going south?
Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe a little southeast. Right. But yeah, we can move along.
So now we're going to make our way over to the mountain region, as the Gordy's FC debuts with a 4-1 victory over the reigning champions Boise FC. How big of a win would this be? Is this for Gordy's FC?
I think it's pretty surprising overall. A brand new team, new to the UPSL, certainly comes in and defeats the reigning Mountain Conference champion Boise FC, and a scoreline 4-1. I think a lot of eyebrows raised. Gordy scored 3 goals in the second half, I believe. So what happened? What happened to Boise FC in the second half? What's going on with that club right now? It's hard to say. Just the first game of the season in the Mountain Conference, so a lot of games left to be played, but it certainly is a surprising result.
You're not really used to seeing first season teams, coming in here, winning a big time team in the UPSL. So a bit of a shocking development there, but a good win, I would say, for Gordy's FC there on that one. Now, let's make our way over to the Pacific Northwest. Of course, news always brewing over in Alaska, I would say. A 4th Alaskan team is on its way now, making 7 teams total. Big things happening always in Alaska. What would this mean for the Pacific Northwest Conference?
Well, this is 4 solid teams now in the Alaska division. Olympia Alaska FC announced Wednesday morning as that 4th team out of Anchorage, giving Anchorage more than just one team now in that city. They play in the Alaska, it's like the Soccer Alaska, I think is the name of the league that they currently play in. And they play inside in this thing called the Dome in Anchorage. A fantastic facility, all weather. It's got a track, it's got like massive soccer fields, the whole thing. It's a really cool setup there in Anchorage, and Olympia was invited by one of the other teams that recently joined the UPSL to say, hey, you're good enough, you should check this out. And Olympia's taken the steps, and now they've become a full-fledged member. So it's really exciting. Alaska has 4 UPSL teams. Who would have thought, right?
Are we finally going to see some soccer playing art here in Alaska?
Yeah, of course. It's going to happen, and there's already enough teams to just get the ball rolling. And I'm sure we should keep our eyes peeled and pay some visits to MyCujoo and check out the action.
We should do that GoFundMe thing again. Remember to take that trip? Remember people trying to get us to go cover games? What if we got to go to Alaska?
I'd be in. I know. I'd say could be. I'm in for whether it's the airplane trip or or the cruise. I think I'll go with the cruise.
The cruise. I think we want the
A
cruise.
cruise is pretty nice. I mean, if you guys are inviting me, it's nice. But if you're not going to take me at all, it's not that nice.
Okay.
Sure.
Sure.
So as long you guys got to include.
I think we're clear.
Duly noted.
All right, so it looks like I'm going to Alaska with these two, but now we're going to make our way over to NorCal as the AFC Hearts of San Francisco gets a 3-1 victory over Nevada Coyotes. Is this going to be a good sign for them?
I think it's a great sign for AFC Hearts. Last season, their first in the UPSL, they struggled a little bit, find their feet, and I think to come out of the start and defeat the Coyotes like this, show some toughness and show a good result. I think that's a positive step for them. Still super early in the season. Does this really mean anything for Coyotes? Hard to say, but I think this is a definite positive for Hearts.
Mm-hmm. So what can we be expecting moving on for the Hearts? And are we just going uphill, or is this kind of just going to be like the one deal wonder?
They're in a really interesting position. They're in the heart of the city, and they've sort of struggled, may not be the word exactly, to find a home facility there, and it's difficult because there's not a whole lot of places to play, and the places that are available are super in demand there in the city. So once they find a place where they can settle in, start to build a little bit further, I think that'll be the major step for Hearts next. Getting results is a positive, but being able to make their way in the city, I think, is the most important thing for them right now.
So I'm going to go ahead and use your pun that you used a little while ago. You said, oh, the team has a lot of heart. So I'm going to say, so the Heart has a lot of heart in them, along with the fans as well. But now, final stop over to SoCal as the Santa Ana wins. They actually beat Cuervos FC and giving them their first loss of the season. Pretty shocking development right there.
What do you think, Art? What do you think about the wins beating Cuervos?
Well, I mean, not surprised by it. I mean, one thing that was mentioned is that they had some of their key players return, and when they got their full arsenal of players available, of course, they definitely have what it takes to win this division.
Yeah.
Not just beat Cuervos as well.
That's true. When they're to full strength, I think Santa Ana wins are as dangerous as any team in the UPSL. And the fact that they were able to manage the players and get them back in time for U.S. Open Cup and get them a game in before the U.S. Open Cup game, it speaks volumes for the quality of the organization and what they want to do in this tournament going forward. And hopefully it sticks. And they get a positive result, and it starts to carry over to the rest of the season. Because right now they're in third place, I think, in the SoCal South Division. And so, any sort of positive steps that wins takes right now, I think, are good. And bringing back those players, beating Cuervos, who hadn't lost yet, and has started to build a little bit of momentum for themselves even, is a positive step. You start to slow the leader down. You start to build for yourself. I think it can only mean good things.
So the Santa Ana wins. Next matchup is going to be on Sunday, 7 p.m. against Cal FC, correct? And that will be streamed as far as the USA Soccer.
Nope, that game will not be streamed. There aren't any U.S. Open Cup games that are going to be streamed this weekend, so you won't be able to watch that unless you show up to the game. And remind me where the game is being played this weekend?
I believe it'll be at Lake Forest Sports Park.
That's
in
right.
Lake Forest, California.
Right, so Lake Forest Sports Park is the place to be if you want to see Cal FC versus Santa Ana wins this weekend. The biggest all-UPSL matchup in U.S. Open Cup qualifying.
Even better, I would say. That would mean come on over to Irvine, to Lake Forest, and check out the game for yourself, as that's going to be all the news we have here in the UPSL West Coast side, as we're going to take our final break. But don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms. That is on Instagram, Facebook, and at Twitter. That is at UPSL Soccer. Welcome back to Inside the UPSL, presented by TV Max. And now we'd like to welcome in a pair of guests tonight. We'd like to bring in both Augie and Emilio Mendez onto the show from Samba FC. How are you gentlemen doing tonight?
Pretty good, thank you. I'm good as well.
Well, we'd like to ask you gentlemen a series of questions. We'd like to first start off with Augie. And my first question, since you are the women's coach, what's new with Samba this season?
Yes, I'm the head coach for the women, and I assist the men for Mr. John Rexstrom. And, we're happy to have the team and be part of the UPSL, the first inaugural season for the women.
Mm-hmm. And what can we be expecting from the women's soccer team in San Antonio?
Okay, well, our vision for the women is to develop, young talent, high school graduates and girls that have graduated from a high school and have, are playing in college, and give them the opportunity to play at a high level. So that's the vision of Samba.
Coach,
so we expect a young team,
And Coach, this is Dennis. I was wondering, do the women plan to play in conjunction with the men and do a doubleheader?
Yes, I think the owner, John Rexstro, was going to get us a couple of games like that. I mean, it's kind of hard. The men we start this Saturday, and the women don't start until the 17th of May. So we're trying to get doubleheaders. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm. And how many games do you expect to play this season?
For the women, we're gonna. There's 6 teams in the league, so we're gonna play 10 games, 5 away and 5 home.
Mm-hmm. And what have you seen so far from the team before, like going into the season? What are some expectations
for the women?
Yes.
Well, to get all the girls to know each other, because of most of our girls are in college. We will not get them all together until probably the first week in May, and then we have to turn around and play in 2 weeks. So basically, we want them to know each other. A lot of them, I coached them when they were in club, so I know probably half of them, but the other half are, coming on board from different places around here in the San Antonio area. So, our expectations are to try to get them to know each other and hopefully play well.
And Coach, what do you think this opportunity will mean for women in the San Antonio area?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. 2 years ago, San Antonio had the first women team. It was called the Villions, and it was in the WPSL, and I was the first coach for that team. And, after that, now there's going to be 5 teams in San Antonio, different leagues.
I actually wanted to ask you a follow-up question as far as you already knew the girls from club. Do you have a game plan as far as how you're going to get to know the other half of the girls that you don't know quite yet because they didn't play club with you?
Yes, I've been, they've been sending videos. I've been watching videos of them when they were playing club and some of them in college. And, once we get them all together, I think they're going to all fit into it. I mean, they're all young girls, between ages of 19 and 22. So, yeah, it's going to be a young team. Some of the other teams have older girls that already played. They're already graduated from college. Mm-hmm. So, we're going to work hard in those 2 weeks and try to get them tactically sound.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'd like to ask the former Goal of the Week winner some questions. Emilio's turn now. First, we'd like to congratulate you, Emilio, on winning the MyCujoo Goal of the Week last season. What are your memories from that goal?
Yeah, that's just funny that you say that because in the first half of that game, I actually I got tripped up and I fell on my shoulder, and I actually popped my bone out of place.
Wow.
And during that, my adrenaline was going, so I didn't really feel it that much, and I was actually going to ask them if they can sit me out in the second half. And but I just kind of ran through it, and I was like, okay, I'm fine. I was just telling myself in my head, like, I can do this. So in the second half, like, it was hurting me a lot, actually, and I was still thinking about going out, but the score was 0-0 at the time, and I felt like I could have done something to help us out. So I remember I got the ball at the corner of the box, and there was 2 defenders on me, and I just looked at the goal, and I mean, I knew where it was already at, and when I hit it, like, the keeper was pretty tall too, so he just went right over him, and I remember I was falling too, and I was just focused on not falling on my shoulder again, because I was already in so much pain.
And I'm assuming after the game you started feeling the pain of your shoulder after the adrenaline started wearing off?
I felt it real bad, and I went straight to the hospital after that. And they told me that I even had x-rays done, and my bone was just out of place and so much pain. They had to give me all these medicines and stuff. And even now, it's still just, my bones is popping out now, so.
Emilio, were you surprised by the social media response in terms of the vote for your goal?
Yes, actually was. I mean, I told my friends about it. I shared it on my social media pages and everything. And I know also the Samba pages also shared it. But I was just surprised by all the feedback and votes that I got for the goal. It actually caught me by surprise. I know all the other contenders they also had great goals, and I mean, mine, I guess a lot of people liked it, so it caught me by surprise just because of all the other goals that were there as well.
And we understand you have a new baby to take care of as well.
Yeah, she will be 9 months on the 10th of this month. So, yeah, my first granddaughter.
That's fantastic. Good to hear that you guys won, so that the MyCujoo gift prize at the end of the season really helped out.
Yes, it really did help out, yeah.
So is the money going to go to baby goods, a crib, or anything like that?
All baby goods, formula, diapers, wipes, everything she needs.
I just wanted to ask, did you expect to win it at all once you saw that your goal was in the mix for the goal of the week?
I actually did not. Like, we actually weren't the ones to even send it in. I believe the other team sent it in for us. And I guess they liked the goal that I scored, and they thought that it was worthy, I would say, enough to be a contender for the goal of the week. And when I was told that, I was just surprised that they would do that. I mean, it was a kind gesture as well from them. I was surprised. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have one more question for you. How does it feel to win that honor? I don't know if you got a chance to share that yet. What's going through your mind? How does it feel? And even what went through your mind when you heard that you won?
It wasn't, honestly, like, I knew there was money involved, but it wasn't even that. Just the fact that I saw that people liked what I did and the goal that I scored, and it just gave me a good feeling that there are actually people out there that care about something like that and actually go and take their time to go vote. And it's just a good feeling to win, honestly, you know. Especially, like I said earlier, with all the other great goals that were scored. Like, it's a good feeling.
Mm-hmm. Well, gentlemen, we thank you so much for your time. We wish you both the best of luck. Congratulations on the win, and with the baby now being 9 months, Emilio. And we thank you guys for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for inviting us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not a problem. That was both Emilio and Augie from Samba FC. We're going to take our final break, but when we come back, we'll have our final thoughts and our final goodbyes. But fans, don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms. That is Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook. That is at UPSL Soccer. Welcome back to Inside the UPSL, presented by TV Emax. We'd like to say our final goodbyes. Gentlemen, any final words that you'd like to say?
Well, it's fun being back. I appreciate you guys inviting me back into the show. It's always nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you back, Dennis.
Definitely felt a little different not having Dennis here. It was a little different. You know, I think Art and I can share that it was a little different. For the first time, it was just a two-man crew turning double plays by yourselves last week. But definitely great show and great to have you back, Dennis. But we would like to thank our guests showing up tonight, the UPSL MVP Abraham Villion joining us tonight, along with both Emilio and Augie Mendez for being on the show with us. We're here every Thursday night with you. I was your host, Alex Naveja, and alongside with me tonight was Art Iftikhari and Dennis Pope coming back from vacation. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and at Twitter. All of you, have a good night, folks.